The more greenhouse gases we pump into the atmosphere, the hotter our world gets. And the hotter our world gets, the more we struggle with devastating weather disasters and their consequences. And now some scientists are warning that the world isn't just heating up, but that the heating up could be speeding up. So is global warming really accelerating? What would this mean for our future? And can we still hit the brakes? I'm Adam, a climate scientist with a PhD from Oxford, sharing what you need to know about climate change. And today I want to talk with you about whether global warming is accelerating. And the answer is quite possibly. Maybe. Well, that's not a very satisfying answer. Sure, I know, but the reasons we know what we know and don't know what we don't know are kind of important. So don't go anywhere just yet. Also, if you're watching this and wondering who today's sponsor is, I'm on the edge of my seat. Well, I'm sorry to disappoint, but I don't do product placements because I don't want to sell you random stuff you don't need. If you're into my videos and the fact they don't sell you stuff, you might fancy becoming a patron to keep things ticking over. Click up here or wait for the link at the end of the video. Okay, but back to the big question. Is global warming speeding up? Wait, how is this even a question? I mean, on this very channel, you've spoken about how mind-meltingly hot 2023 was. I have, and that's because it was. 2023 was an absolute scorcher, beating the previous hottest year by a wide margin. And 2024 is continuing that pattern. January was the hottest January and February was the hottest February we've ever seen. In fact, areas of Europe have been so hot this year that they beat their March temperature records in February. I mean, when you've got climate scientists using phrases like absolutely gobsmackingly bananas, you know something's probably up. And yeah, that is a real quote from Berkeley Earth's Zeke Housefather. The shattering of temperature records is about so much more than the unexpected numbers. This has real world consequences for all of us. This extreme heat is translating into extreme weather, like deadly heat waves, devastating downpours, and fires raging across the planet. And that's just what's happening on solid ground. We're also seeing the damage play out with unprecedented ice losses and with soaring ocean heat causing mass coral bleaching of the Great Barrier Reef. And here's the kicker. Climate scientists aren't entirely sure how this has happened. While continually burning fossil fuels and churning out greenhouse gases, of course, means that the world is heating, the last months have still been a whole chunk higher than scientists would have expected. There are other factors besides greenhouse gases that boosted temperatures. The natural El Nino, the eruption of a huge underwater volcano, and the cleaning up of shipping pollution. But even taking all of these things into account doesn't seem to explain the blistering temperatures that we've just seen. So exactly, 2023 and now 2024 have been hotter than expected. So surely that means global warming is speeding up. Well, the thing is, since we don't know why these months have been so jaw-droppingly hot, we also don't know if it could just be some temporary blip, and if temperatures will then go back to something more in line with expectations. Or this could be a sign that the workings of our climate are starting to change in ways that we need to understand as quickly as possible. But right now, we just don't have enough evidence about whether these extreme temperatures are part of a new pattern or about what's caused them to say that this shows signs of things speeding up. To answer that question, we need to look at the long-term trend. Okay, so why don't we look at the long-term trend? Can't we just literally look at the graph and see if global warming is accelerating or not? Okay, so I can't avoid it any longer. Time to look at some boring graphs. This is what continuous temperature rise would look like, and this is what perfectly smooth acceleration looks like. As time goes on, things not only get hotter, but get hotter faster, which is why the graph bends upwards. Okay, and this is what global yearly temperatures actually look like, shown here from 1970 to 2023. You can see it's not a smooth curve. There's serious wobbles from year to year, and that makes it hard to say with certainty whether or not things are speeding up. Some scientists, including Zeke Hausfather again, as well as Jim Hansen, who's one of the biggest climate scientist celebrities, well, they've been saying that there are signs that temperatures have been rising faster since 2010 than they were for the few decades before that. This would make sense, theoretically. You see, there are two main forces controlling the trend: carbon dioxide and aerosols. Carbon dioxide is building up in the atmosphere like water filling up a glass. The higher the level, the hotter the planet. But then counteracting that is aerosols. When climate scientists talk about aerosols, we're not just talking about what you get out of spray cans, but all tiny droplets and particles floating in the air. These come from a whole host of air pollution and natural processes. Aerosols actually cool the planet overall, but they fill up in the atmosphere like water filling up a plant pot. Once we stop emitting them, they fall out the atmosphere pretty quickly. And that's the thing, we're continually filling up the carbon dioxide glass while gradually cleaning up air pollution. That means ever more of the heating effects of carbon dioxide, but gradually less of the cooling effects of aerosols, which could mean, in theory, accelerated warming, which is what our simulations of the climate show should happen. Adding to that evidence is our oceans, where most of the extra heat of global warming ends up. And our oceans have been absorbing ever increasing amounts of energy. So that's why scientists think global warming could speed up. But not all scientists agree that we're already seeing this pattern play out in temperatures. Because temperatures are so wiggly year on year, it can be hard to be sure until the trend has been going for quite a while. Like back when I started working on climate change, there was loads of discussion about whether global warming had slowed down or perhaps even stopped, because this was what the last few years of temperatures looked like. And well, safe to say global warming was definitely still happening. Similarly, how confident can we be now that warming is for sure speeding up and not just continuing in a straight line? Okay, but it sounds like whether or not temperatures are already speeding up, they're likely to at some point. So what does that mean for all of us? Well, the hotter things get, the worse things get for us. The more parts of the world inundated by sea level rise, the more people hammered by extreme weather, the more areas exposed to dangerous infectious diseases. And even if heating doesn't speed up, climate scientists have long understood that the consequences of heating will speed up. Like, the temperature difference between 1 and 1.5 degrees is the same as the difference between 1.5 and 2 degrees of warming. It's 0.5 degrees, and I can work that out in my head because I have a PhD in physics. But the difference for us, in terms of all those impacts, is much, much more significant from 1.5 to 2 degrees. We have to keep in mind though that so far global temperatures are mostly behaving in line with what climate scientists have expected, and an acceleration would also be expected. And yes, temperatures over the past year have been weird, but once again we simply don't know if that's a blip or not. Don't worry, as soon as we know more clearly, I'm going to be making a video all about it. Subscribe so you don't miss it. But so far, what we're seeing simply does not mean that temperatures are shooting up out of control, or we've passed the tipping point, or whatever other terrifying narrative you've heard about it. For sure, what's happening to global temperatures right now is scary and crucial to pay attention to. But our best scientific understanding is still that we can stop the heating by stopping emitting, as I explained in my video over here. And whether it's people acting to lower their own emissions, fighting to change the systems that are causing this problem in the first place, or amplifying and talking about reliable climate info, there has never been so much force pushing to first decelerate warming and then to finally bring it to a halt. There are few places where the vital importance of stopping warming is as clear as the Amazon rainforest. Scientists are increasingly scared it could pass a point of no return. But at the same time, it's clear that we still have so much to win by protecting this vital ecosystem. Find out all about that in my last video over here. Okay, until next time, bye. Oh dear. It's a sneezy way to start the episode.